All right, we are back and we are pinch potting. We have our water for slip. We have our fork to score, a popsicle stick, and a toothpick. If you don't have a toothpick, where did my toothpick go? It's rolling away on me. If you don't have a toothpick, you can always get a pencil and have a point. Today, I'm gonna show you how to do a pinch pot. This is gonna be enough clay to do a nice teacup, but I wanna take just a little bit away to do a foot, and not a foot that goes and attaches to our legs, but a foot ceramic wise. So the first thing you're gonna do is show the clay who's boss and pat it into a ball. Remember, clay doesn't like these little air pockets, so be cautious. If you see a little pocket, I know I can use this opening to start my hole. So once you have it tapped into a nice round enough ball, you're gonna take your thumbs up, and you're gonna boop, push down. So it's kind of like a little peanut butter cookie. Then with your fingers going like this, pinch, turn, pinch, turn, pinch, turn, really gently. You want to make sure you're getting all the meat of the clay without pushing through the bottom, right? So easy does it, pinch, turn, pinch, turn, pinch, turn. And I like to say it out loud because it helps me focus. Now, Mrs. Stevenson, what do I do? It's cracking and breaking. I'm gonna go crazy. No, it's saying I need some H2O. Dip, and then give it a little refresh. Make sure it has enough water to make it start not cracking. And let's say, ooh, I like this. So when my pinching starts to make some strange shapes, sometimes it influences the artist to go in a certain direction. I kind of like this. It makes me think of a flower. So I might change my pinch pot to be a flower pinch pot, because who doesn't love spring, right? All the flowers are coming up. It's like rebirth of growth outside. The sun is warming things up and things are popping out of our soil. So it's always a really fun time. When you're working, you can really carefully notice how I always want to try to support the walls of my clay if I'm smoothing and pushing out. Let's say, oh wow, I love where this is going. Very organic shape, not very sharp geometric shapes. And I tend to kind of gravitate towards those. All right, so I'm dipping, I'm smoothing. Now, I like the way this bowl shape is looking, but I actually think I'm gonna kind of intentionally pinch down to make it look more like a flower. So this could be your flower pinch pot spring bowl too. I'm gonna use my finger and do a little smoothing. Now, let's say, oh my gosh, I screwed it up. I don't like it. I want to start over. Well, that is tricky. If I ball this up like this, I'm going to create lots of air pockets. So, but that's okay. If you're really, really feeling like you have to start over, there's a certain technique that has to happen. It's called wedging. That's wedging. It's kind of like kneading dough if you're a baker. So let me show you how to do that. I'm not gonna do that with this example, but this is another separate piece of clay. Let's pretend that Mrs. Stevenson took her clay and I smashed it up and I went, oh, this isn't working. So in order for me to get these air bubbles out, I need to take the palm of my hand and I'm going to push and then pull back and turn the clay and push. This is pushing all the air bubbles out. So then you're gonna pick it up and you're gonna take your palm again and push down. So you can see the layers. It's pushing all that air out, but it also dries the clay a little bit. So what do? H2O. You can also wet your clay, stick it back in your bag, and make it even softer. But just like Goldilocks, I always go back to Goldilocks. You don't want it too wet or it'll fall apart and turn into liquid clay. You don't want it too dry or it'll crack. So pull it up, push it down, pull it up, push it down. Now I am set to start another pinch pot. Make sure you knock down those little high rises there, and I will be good to go over and start pinching. But I'm gonna jump back to, ta-da, see, I already did it. That's the beauty of clay. You can jump right back to it. You can also get a little bottle if you have to spritz it with water. That is very helpful too. All right, now I'm gonna turn this over and I'm gonna just set it over to the side. When I talked about that coil for the foot, I'm gonna tear a piece of clay. I'm gonna set this down. Now, you can use your hands to roll your clay coil, or you can use the paper. I'm gonna give it a little drink to roll out. Placemats, woo, are always a good idea, especially if you have a surface that would get stuck on. You don't want to just do it on the countertop, not just because we don't want to get our house all messy, but also we don't want our piece of clay to stick to it. So gently roll out, gently roll out. Once I have my coil, I'm gonna give it another drink. I can feel it's getting a little dry, and then it gets mad and it goes, no, I need water. So I'm gonna roll it here. I'm gonna make a little circle. What do I have to do to make sure that these two stay together? Score, score, dip and slip. You got it. So score, score, dip, slip, jiggle, wiggle, jiggle, wiggle. All right, now flip it over, jiggle, wiggle. All right, now I have my football. You have to take your clay, and again, score, score. Then what do? Dip, slip, jiggle, wiggle. Now, I don't want any jiggling, wiggling action until I get my supportive hand inside. If I don't support and jiggle, wiggle, then it's gonna go boom, and it's gonna cave in, and then it's gonna be not cool. We don't want that. We wanna be happy ceramic artists here. So I like to use my fingertip. I like to use my nail. You can see I'm adding texture. If you don't like the texture, gently smooth with another tool. Then you can actually go back in, dip your fingertip, and then use some water to smooth it out. If you have a dish soap, or excuse me, a dish sponge, and you get permission from mom and dad to cut a little sponge off, you could use a sponge by dipping, squeezing all the water out, because too much water is no good. Then you can go over with your sponge too. I don't even use a sponge because I like to have all hands on clay. Did you get my pun? All hands on deck, or all hands on clay. Okay, now I'm gonna tap my rim, or tap my foot. Ooh, it's a beautiful flower. I can see it taking shape now. So in order to continue my piece, I may want to have, excuse me, some textures or some line that give reminiscent of a flower. So I have all these like goodies in here. I've collected some nature items. I have a seashell. Let's see what this guy does. Experiment at home. If you have objects that you want to see what that stamp will do, let's see. Jiggle, jiggle, Ooh, it didn't do as much as I thought. You want to always go easy does it at first. If you push too far, especially on the bottom of your piece, chances of it going all the way through can be very high. So we don't want that to happen. I'm not, take it or leave it, not that exciting. I'm gonna say leave it. Maybe I want to do this little pine cone. Ooh, I like that. So it's all about experiment. It's very much your preference. The only thing that I want you to always remember when you're done adding your texture, you have to put your John Hancock, your name. I need to see your name on the bottom, or Mrs. Stevenson, when you bring it back, won't know who belongs to what piece. So make sure mom, dad, a grown-up at home help you put your name on the bottom when you finish. You can texture the outside. You can texture the inside. You can do whatever you want. This is a old beaded curtain that I actually had fall apart, but now it's a perfect stamp. So anytime you're pushing, I'm supporting it with my outside, I'm supporting it with my outside hand. Pushing in, supporting outside. I hope you enjoy this project. I hope you enjoy having fun experimenting, and don't get frustrated if you have a total failure. That's the best time that the magic can happen, and you can always start over, okay? If you're stressed or don't understand, when we do our check-in, I'm happy to help you because I know you guys are gonna rock it. The last thing I'm gonna do, I have to make some lines, I think. Kind of like a flower line, just to make it kind of pop. And then I'm gonna say, finito. All right, thanks so much. Have a great day.